So we're back for part two with
Woo!
Mr. Brian Nichols. And where we left off was talking about the community gatherings, things of that nature. So I am going to be very transparent and
You?
then
Never.
with my feelings, and then hear your perspective again, being a newer resident. Um, there's two sides to the way I fit. One, like the downtown stuff, the concerts, the Christmas walk. There's so many of these things that we do that are they truly are very cool,
Hmm.
right? When I go, there's no tons of people. You have that small community. We know each other, sit and talk, and it is enjoyable. And I feel like those are some of the things that we kind of do fairly well. In other words, we have a few people that they love doing that
Yep.
and they get really excited about it. Even within government, part of our city budget, even they'll spend thousands of dollars at for certain events or for certain organizations that put on these events. Even though health insurance is negative $6.6 million right now.
That's
but
it.
um, and you see the good vibe, you see the community feel, and it's putting my crusty, grumpy self aside. It is necessary, but I sometimes me myself I fight cynicism a little bit. I fight getting cynical about some of these things because I have firsthand seen where we say, hey, look at the shiny stuff. Look at everything we're doing and how great we are. But yet the foundation is cracking, right? Like
Hmm.
we have where we and don't get me wrong, we have homelessness itself is a problem everywhere, right? In many places, right? But
And for many reasons, by the way. Just
and for
call
many
that out.
reasons,
Yeah.
and for many reasons. But we're putting on a party, and just a block over, there's homeless tents. You know what I mean? It's just this. It was the best of times and the worst of times, and I
Hmm.
get cynical because I, there's so many issues that we need to deal with, but yet we still have all those people that love to party.
Yep.
So, but it is necessary. You have to have family friendly events. You have to have the parks. I mean, those are the things that are in place that families love and enjoy, right?
Hmm.
And we enjoy being a part of that, right? We do. It's human
Yep.
nature. Anyways, I kind of just right on you
But
there.
well, let me
So
just like
take that.
jump in, right? Like this is where yes, and we do some of those great things, like the pool, for example, right? And yet the pool is open what 6 weeks? What?
It's not much. It seems like it's not open as much as it used to
You
be.
blink and it's closed. And like I heard people go, because that's when the kids go back to school. Are you telling me there is nobody in the city who would work for minimum wage who could be a lifeguard that's not a high school student? Come on. Like this is the thing. Like again, like we do it's like we take half approaches almost. We are almost there. We almost do it right. And then we just there's little things we could do to make it done well and we just do it okay. And it's like stuff like that. We have a great pool and yet it's only open so often, and that's frustrating as a dad, right? Like of a little kid. So that is annoying in just one use case, but like in general, it is important to, you're right, like to have the fun stuff but also have the underlying issues resolved. And it's hard because you're right, there are so many things to point at. I think it's important then to really address the blinking red lights that are most actually tangibly addressable, right? And I don't have the answers, Clay. And I'm not coming to today's conversation acting as though I do.
Right.
But I think it is important to approach things in a different way versus the, well, we've always done things this way, so whatever, this is just how it's going to be. Like we can't have that mentality. And whether that's bringing in, like, we could easily start to use. I've seen this idea. You talk about different ideas from out of state. I worked with this guy who was running for governor out in New York, and one of the ideas that he had posed was this idea of almost like naming rights, like you would have a naming right for a football stadium, but do that for like government entities and projects and bridges and infrastructure, right? Like, let these companies be able to slap their logos in marketing funds on whatever. I mean, think about it, right? Like you're driving down Route 3 in Newcastle, right? Like, what if that was called like Boar's Head Lane, right? Like, that, you don't think Boar's Head would pay for whatever
Right.
number for that marketing for, like, a 3-year contract or a 5-year contract? And think of the different areas you could license. And then on top of that, like, you could do like I'm using the word co-owner very loosely, but like a co-ownership where it's like, hey, you're going to help maintain some of this stuff too, on top of having
Oh
your name
yeah.
on,
Right. Right.
right? Like
Yeah.
this is where you got to think outside the box,
Yeah.
and to say, well, here's the reasons we can't. Great. There's always a real million reasons why you can't do something. You
Yeah.
have to
Let's
like be
change
willing to
those.
actually, yeah,
Yeah.
flip that script, right? Like, think of how can we actually start to do things in a different way. Um, so yeah, I mean, do I have all the answers? No, but there are ways that we can start to be creative in
Yeah.
leveraging public-private relationships that are not picking winners and losers. They are not giving special treatment and favors to friends and stuff, but are actually being done in good faith to help for the betterment of the community, but also to help create better, more pro entrepreneurship environments, because
Yeah.
that does lift all boats when there are more opportunities for entrepreneurs to plant their flag and say, I'm going to do X here, and now have the ability to not only do that and feel comfortable in doing that for the long-term business prospects, but then they can start to hire, right? They can start to grow. They can start to now employ more people locally. That's going to inevitably help improve things across the board, because the more people
Yeah.
who have higher paying jobs, the more they're going to have disposable income. They're going to look, and by the way, guess what? When they're looking to spend their money, guess what? There's going to be people who are going to want to build locally to say, hey, give me your money. And
Yeah.
that's how economies work. And it feels like we've almost gotten back to this mentality of, there's only so much pie, and we can only take so much from, or there's only so much from this pie that we can take, and we have to add just a little bit more every year. It's like, stop it. The pie can grow. And
Yeah.
inflation certainly has. The pie can grow in proportion as well. We
Yeah.
have to change the way we look at things, man.
And so 100% agree with that. Like we've got to find a way to like you said, grow the pie, right? We've got to
Yeah.
find a way to find other sources. Um, and as you were talking there, so there are some good things that started coming to my mind when I start thinking about like our downtown area, and I'm thinking about like some places I've been to in downtown. Like you've got the is it called? She's she's gonna be mad at me. Is it Beehive or like the soap?
Oh
But
yes, the Beehive Company.
yeah, you got that. You've got Kai's. You've got. I don't want to get into a bunch of name dropping, but we know the people watching know what's down there. There's employees. That's true. Like there's several people, local people, keeping those businesses functioning that are
Mm-hmm.
making their income, and so there is that. I guess the microcosm of what could be. So how do we? I'm not necessarily asking. I guess I'm just asking to plant a seed into those
Mm-hmm.
who are listening. So how do we take that small example of that beehive, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, and expand it?
Yep.
How does that 20-some-year-old, 30-some-year-old that's looking to expand their horizons right? They don't have to put the business downtown, right? There's other places. There's other. How do we expand that? And I guess that would be just a you got to break out of those mental prisons, right?
Yes.
To be able to think beyond. Now, I want to mention this. I've been watching Rex Peckinpah, Councilman Peckinpah. He said something not long ago. It's actually been too long ago now. He said it so long ago there should have been action taken by now. But it has to do with what you said and Trojan Lane. Okay, so the mayor of the city designated here a year or so ago. Okay, he said, okay, I'm going to put $15,000 of city money in the budget every year to go to the upkeep of Trojan Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is that? That is money that's coming in that they're talking about we don't have enough of, that we're even going to get less of with this whole SB1 property tax and all that. We're even going to get less of. But Mr. Peckinpah presented to me was a great idea. He said, why don't we take banners, those poles, like new light poles they put in. You could put small banners on each side of, past Trojan athletes, past Newcastle people that, have went on or succeeded or done something or have their families, sponsor a banner all along Trojan Lane as you go to the high school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow, that's a great idea. And he presented that to the mayor at a council meeting. Haven't heard anything else about it. And I talked to Aaron. Most people watching this know Councilman Aaron Dickin and I. We're good community friends. I asked him about it. I said, "Hey, has anything been done with this?" And last I heard, nothing's been done. And to me, that's the frustrating part of how we just do things the way we've always done things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why don't we do that? So I don't know. I mean, we still got a couple years before Rex is mayor. And when he's mayor, he can just make that decision, But I think...
And really quickly, if I may, like one thing I want to just call out, and I love the idea, by the way, of the banners, but like one thing, it's important for government to enter into this with mentality of like, we don't have to have all the answers and all the things figured out, right?
Yes.
Like we have to be okay with empowering private partners. And that should be something that government needs to get out of the way of. Like, part of the reason people don't do these things is because government puts so much red tape in the way that they make it so it's like, okay, you know what? I'm not even gonna try because this isn't worth my time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're paying attention right now. The Cleveland Browns are trying to hire a head coach. And there's so many head coaches who have said, hey, thanks, but no thanks. And apparently, Clay, in order to become the head coach for the Browns, not only do you have to do the traditional interviews, but you have to like take tests and write essays and like do all these like really weird loopholes. And people are like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to do that. And that right there, like that's what people feel like when they work with government. It's like trying to be the head coach for the Browns. And that is why it's like I love the idea, but like I would take it even a step further and say, hey, for Trojan Lane, we're just gonna like say, hey, whoever wants to buy the naming rights for a year, you get a sign at the either end of it, you get upkeep, you can do what you want with it, within XYZ parameters.
Yeah.
Go and highest bidder wins, right? Don't cap it at a certain amount. Like just let the whoever, and it could be anyone, right? It could be Boar's Head, it could be Eli Lilly, it could be the Colts. Like open the doors. Let it could be the Pacers. Why wouldn't it be the Pacers? Like you could have fun with this, right? And this is the part where when government gets out of the way, instead of saying, well, we have to first enter in with a super hyper specific answer, just say get out of the way and let the people who are out there who have the ideas have the ability to actually act on those ideas. Boom,
Yeah.
there you go.
And we did. So, as you were talking, I remembered at Road 3 and 38, there's a little park there uh, across from Walgreens,
Yep.
south of Walgreens. And, there's the digital sign, the Welcome to Newcastle sign. There's flowers, during the spring and summer. And there's a sign there that sponsored by Henry Community Health. Right? Like, so what I'm saying is you're saying all that, and I'm like, well, we've done that in a small way.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we expand that?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's something I don't know. But yeah, I look at that and think, why can't we expand that? We could do that to so many different areas of
And
this
even if there is
community.
some stupid rule, change it. Like
Yeah.
this is the part of like, I don't know. I'm just so tired of like, well, this rule was said. Well, we can change the rule. We can change the rule.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Like, if there's a stupid rule, change the stupid rule.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw something at you here too. I think I pretty much figure I already know your opinion on it. But so there was someone here in town. They have a local business where they do signs, like they did my campaign signs.
Mm-hmm.
But they also do graphics. That's what I'm looking for, like larger graphics
Right.
and signs. Um, Small business, very small business. They don't advertise. I I just happened to find out about them during the election. But as I've been following them, they do quite a bit of stuff around here. Okay. Now, I had them reach out to me. They said, "Do you know anything about the permit fee going up?" And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't heard the council talk about it. I haven't heard that. And they, according to what they told me, that I may be wrong in these exact quotes, but I know I'm pretty darn close. And that is, they said, for instance, to go there, somebody wanted a sign change, just a simple sign change.
Mm-hmm.
They said they had to first, they have to have a permit to do that, which
To change the sign.
to change the sign.
Okay.
Yeah. So I understand some reasonings behind permits on certain things,
Yep.
but I also think you can get into getting in the way of expansion and upgrades and maintenance if you start with. So I don't agree with every little fee for doing these things, right?
And by the way, if you're gonna add these little like things, you should make it. If you're a business like the city, you should make it as easy as possible
It should be
for people to
extremely
get it.
easy. It
Like
should be
I should be able
extremely
to
easy.
go online and
Yeah,
apply for a permit and get that approved in like in a millisecond.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that is just that one thing. To me, at the very least, that is a way for government to get out of the way
Right.
so that people can just do. Okay. But here's what they told me. Basically, the permit fee to do that was like $25 before.
Mm-hmm.
But then they said all of a sudden they went to apply and it was $75. And they told me because of their what they charge, one, they have to increase their price,
Yep.
right?
And guess what? They don't just all of a sudden pass that arbitrarily on to somebody else. It goes right to the customer.
Exactly. Exactly. So they have to increase their price, but because of the type of people they are, they know they're not going to gouge anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, basically, to get to the point, they said, Clay, the city made more money off of this than we did.
Oh,
And on some of these projects that they do, That's what they tell me. They say the city is making more money on these projects than we are because, again, going back to the
And by
dynamics
the
of
way, Clay, by the way, what business doesn't go into business to help make the government more money than themselves?
exactly right. That's why I want to do it. But and I went to find out, tried to dig up a little bit on what might have happened, and there is and I'm not going to get all the terms correct off the cuff here, but there's basically a document. It's like a umbrella document, if you
Mm.
will, that the city council passes, but the city council would not have known the fees that were the fee.
It's an omnibus for city council, basically.
And so it's just like we need these upgrades, so they pass it. And unless they would have read through it, they wouldn't have known.
It's
And
Nancy
so,
Pelosi. We have to pass the bill in order to know what's in it.
and that, yeah, right, right. But see, and that's another thing that happens and again, I don't think I'm talking about things that I don't know about. I mean, I think I know what I'm talking about here. In local government like this, where we've all been friends and we've grown up together, we just trust each other,
Yep.
right? So, oh, you say this is good? Oh, okay, then it's probably good.
Yeah.
But then you pass it, and now all of a sudden, XYZ business is paying the city more than they're making. And it's like,
There should be, by the way, like here's something that easily we could put in place tomorrow. Aaron Dickin, here you go, right? Like put a sunset provision in place for every city ordinance and make it mandatory that in order for a law to be maintained on the books after 10 years or whatever time frame, it has to be like single item voted on by the city council, and it has to be looked at every 10 years. So like if there's a
yeah,
rule for something like that we have a reason for it in 2026, think for example 2020, right? If there were stupid rules that were put in place around COVID response and masking and vaccination, right? And all of a sudden it's 2075 and they're like still trying to enforce forced masking. People are like, why are we doing this? Well, because it's the rule. Why? Well, there was a pandemic in 2020, 50 something years ago. What? Right? Like
yeah,
that would be the mentality versus like if we just had a natural sunset provision where those laws would go away, 2030 would come around and be like, all right, mandatory mask. No, oh, this was for COVID. Okay, yeah, get rid of this, right? Like we're gonna let this go away,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
wouldn't have to do anything. You'd only repass laws that you're like, oh yes, we want that, but make it like single issue votes on each one. And
yeah,
the city council will have to do more work. Oh goodness, like public servants having to be public servants. I gasp. But like that's the thing. Like you're gonna have to pay attention and actually look at these laws and have an opinion. And if you don't like it, like well, let it go away. And if you want this law, you feel it's super important, then vote for it. But guess what? Now you got to put your name to it. You can't just be like, well, this law's been around for 70 years. Like we couldn't get rid of
yeah.
it. So there you go, Aaron. There's your mission this year. If you can pass a sunset provision, you'll be my favorite person in the whole
There you
city.
go. And on that note, I'll use this as an opportunity to say, I have considered running for city council at large in 27, right? Not mayor. The fact is, and I know some people are going to, I don't know. I guess everybody has their opinion. I'm not going to beat Rex Peckinpah. Okay. So when you look at the stats, you look at the votes, I'm not going to beat Rex Peckinpah. But I think I could win a council seat. And honestly, that might fit better in my life right now anyway, being a grandpa and some certain things. But besides that,
it's always weird. You're a grandpa.
I know, right?
Grandpa Clay.
I'm Pop. I am Pop. But I'd been thinking about this idea of if I'm on the council, one of the points is to start going into the code book. Maybe first seek help on, hey, what codes are affecting your life right now
Mm-hmm.
that you think could change, right? Making that a public platform, right? And start there. But looking, like you said, looking through some of these codes, because some of it I some of these codes I feel like do hinder the exact same or the exact thing we say we need to grow, right? We need people to do things. We need people to build things. We want people to keep their houses up, but yet at the same time, we want to charge them X amount of fees for doing simple projects,
Huh.
right? And if you get caught doing simple projects without a permit, then you pay another fee, right? I mean, anyways, I digress.
But no,
But
but Clay,
what do you
that is
think? What do you
accurate.
think about that, though? What do you think about that?
No, well that's the thing is that like you end up having government. They think like they're always looking for how can I get a piece of something, right? Whether it's a piece of a transaction or a piece of a project. And that's
Yeah,
just that's fundamentally the opposite way that government should be looking at taxes. Like if I were to tell you, hey Clay, there's taxes on cigarettes. And you're like, yeah, because we don't want people to smoke cigarettes. And I'm like, yeah, and then they tax your income. It's like, oh, I wonder why, right? Like, okay, that what do you think happens when you tax other things, right?
yeah,
Like, I'm sorry, when you're doing a home project and you have to pay a permit cost to just do a small home project, that's a tax. Like,
yeah,
come on, that's what it is. It's a
yeah,
tax, and this is something where if government has a certain goal in mind, right? Like to your point, we want houses to be nicer. Great. Make it so it's not as costly for me to make my house nicer. And
yeah.
this is something where like it is so frustrating because there are little things that government can do by simply getting out of the way.
That's what I
And that
think.
right, it's true. Like there's a famous it was actually back in the old Twitter, like the 2010s, a page that came out. It was called a crime a day, and the whole thing was like going through the code books, around the country, just listing off all these silly felonies that people do that are old felonies from like the 1700s. It's like you can't make an apple pie and put it on your windowsill on a Monday afternoon if you live in Boston. Like it's stuff like that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And how there are such little things that are still laws that we just by the nature of that there are so many we commit. I think the average is like 3 felonies a day,
yeah.
and that
I've
right
heard
there
that.
speaks right like that speaks to there's too much. And if we're wondering why people don't like to do stuff, right, it's because they're afraid they're going to get in
Yeah,
trouble, they're going to get fined, they're going to get their wrist slapped, they're going to get yelled at. Like people are so just willing to check out lately because of that. And it's like, we should be making it easier for folks to feel empowered in their own
yeah,
lives to like
yeah,
but and I'm like, government should like encourage, like I would love to see Clay, like instead of government stopping by and saying like, hey, look at that, you're doing a house project, don't see we have a permit for you, oh, you're gonna get a fine. Instead of that being like, hey, you're doing your house. Look at that. Your house looks really good. Like this looks really good, and like
yeah.
celebrate it. Like get
Hey,
the
thank you for
newspaper.
spending your money to
Right.
beautify the neighborhood.
Right, and maybe like, hey, maybe government has like some preferred vendors, but like but folks that we partner with in the community. Like, hey, here's a $25 True Value gift card. Like, go get some more mulch for your front
Yeah,
yard. Like little things like that. That would go such a further way. And actually, it's funny. There's a social experiment. There's this YouTube channel my wife and I watch called Corridor Crew, and it's these CGI graphic design guys, and they had this one thing where somebody was leaving dirty dishes in the sink, and they wanted to find out who it was. And they're really techie, so they like put this little camera behind this painting that they put in front of the sink, and they were trying to catch who it was,
yeah,
and they were going to punish like whoever it was. And then they ended up I forget like how they did it, but then they ended up giving a reward mechanism afterwards instead, and how it actually they found there was more positive outcomes from the reward mechanism.
oh
And
yeah,
it just
yeah,
speaks to like when government, instead of being the arbiter of punishment, it becomes the arbiter of rewarding. Like that
yeah,
feels better. And
yeah,
people, back to your point earlier, where people just feel so like hopeless and just like not like my voice matters, this would create that warm and fuzzies, right? Like it
Yeah.
makes you feel that not only is there hope, but that like somebody actually cares. And that's
Yeah.
something when people look at government, they genuinely feel that government's there to harm, to hurt, to get in my
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Clay, the reality is in many instances that's the truth. It
Right.
has been, right? So like government, and if that's the case, has an obligation to take steps back and to try to do things
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
If not, you're
I,
going to get the same outcomes of people just being hopeless and
yeah.
feeling resentful.
You don't, you keep doing the same thing over and over again. You're going to keep getting what you got. Right.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
and I'm reminded of, most people know this, the Ronald Reagan quote about, what is it? The 9 most scary words you can hear, or
I'm from
something
the
like
government and I'm
that.
here
I'm
to
from
help.
the government and I'm here to help.
Yep.
Um, so as we wrap this up, I think we got just about 5 or so minutes here. Um, going back to the fees and stuff,
Mhm.
I kind of debated on if I wanted to go here or not because we just have this short time. But part of me thinks because those permit fees go into the general fund, if I'm not mistaken. I asked about that, and that was the answer I got. The permit fees go to the general fund, and the general fund is in the same account as like the health insurance fund. And we know, I mean, I said it during the whole 2023 election, but I it couldn't be denied any longer when Baker Tilly came in a council meeting and
Mhm.
officially said it, and that is we are subsidizing the health insurance fund with other monies
Mm.
because it's all in the same account. And so part of me had wondered if maybe some of the reason for increasing those permit fees is it was an easy way to find a way to take in more money to help subsidize the deficits.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think is obviously I don't think that's the right way to go, but I really wonder. Nobody will probably say that out loud, but knowing how it's all connected and what funds go where, I'm really wondering if that's some of the reason at least, just to help that deficit. Because if we didn't have that deficit, that means we would be $6.6 million ahead. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, man. Now I wish we had more time because now we get into this income tax. We're starting to depend upon the income tax, the local income tax, so much. So we ended the year in that one bank account. We ended positive in that bank account because of all the other funds.
Mhm.
Okay. Again, health insurance negative 6.6 million, but the local income tax fund was like positive 2.7 million.
Hmm.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that some of that 2.7 helps subsidize that negative 6.6. If that local income tax goes away, now what? Right? This is where we have to find a better way to do things. We have to.
And not punish, right? Like again, change
Yes.
the mentality. Like taxing is inherently a punishment. And if you're looking to use taxes to always be a source of revenue, you're going to end up with people not wanting to be here. And that's just the fundamental reality that is economics 101, right? Like go study some basic micro and macro
Yeah.
and you will see this play out time and again. And by the way, like if you really want to dig deep and look at this from a more political policy standpoint, look at folks like Milton Friedman, Thomas Sowell, even folks like Murray Rothbard, Hans Hermann Hoppe. There's a lot of really, really great economists that you can look into that talk about this in detail. So but with that being said though, Clay, like at the end of the day, again, it is so important for people to feel they have a voice. And that just doesn't happen a lot in government. And we want to be able to people not only feel they have a voice, but that voice is encouraged to be celebrated.
Yeah.
Like people in government look at themselves way too high and mighty. Like, you're not special. You're a
Yeah.
public servant, right? You're not a public, special. And that is something that needs to be remembered back, to the very basics of what we're supposed to have for our electoral system, is that we're electing public servants. So
Yeah.
a lot of folks need to get out of the mentality of how do we, take from the public and go back to how are we serving the public. And I think you serve the public by cheering on good and encouraging what good looks like, right? Like when you see good behavior being modeled, like cheer it. And I think there is a role for subsidization when it's in good areas, right? Just like there's an area for taxes when there's negatives that you're trying to get rid of. I don't think cigarettes are a good thing, right? I think sin taxes have a place in society, whether we like them or not. But like if there's ever a call for a tax, that's the place to leverage it, not on income. Like don't try to hurt income. But like when we're going full circle here, it really just comes down to how are we as a government, and again looking at Newcastle specifically, how are we encouraging people to come here and say this is going to be my home? And it's not just one thing, right? It's a holistic, like it's a living, breathing organism,
Yeah.
and you have to approach it like that. It's not going to be one thing that's going to fix it. It's going to be all
Yeah.
these little things that we talked about today, and then some. Right? It's going to require all the people, all the movers and shakers of the community, to get involved and to start trying to move things in the right direction, with or without government. Government can hopefully get on board. Hopefully, Rex and team will find the value in our approach. But I digress.
Yeah. And to end with this, I guess really it starts at home.
100%.
How am I going to raise my family? How am I going to model the proper behavior in front of those closest to me? So, very good. Very good. Brian, I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for taking your time, and we will see you very soon.
Love you, bud. Good to talk to you.
All right. Love you, buddy. Take care.
See
Bye.
you around.